Hi, everyone. This is Yoke from Yoke Records, and welcome to the first episode of a new series called Tune Talk. On Tune Talk, we're going to get into a lot of interesting topics in the genres of punk, metal, rock. But today, for the first episode, I really want to get into a specific band. It's in the thrash arena, and it's a band that's been, in my opinion, just criminally underrated, that do not get their due. They're absolutely scorching, one of the most exciting bands to come out of that genre ever. And they broke into the scene in the 80s. They're out of Canada, and the band is Razer. I personally believe Razer is arguably, let's say, the number one thrash band of all time. And when you look at the list of who the best bands are in thrash and other sort of metal genres from the 80s, now and again you'll see Razer mentioned, and certainly Razer has a cult following. A lot of, the big fans are quite rabid, and I'm one of them. But Razer, again, just doesn't get their due. And it's really hard to figure out, quite frankly, because they are so damn good. I mean, you look at their discography, for example, early on, albums like, my favorite, Evil Invaders, it's unbelievable. These songs on Evil Invaders are absolutely one after the other unbelievable. I mean, you got the great instrumental Nowhere Fast that starts it all off. Then you get into the menacing Cross Me Fool. Probably the best song in thrash ever. It's that good. Legacy of Doom, Evil Invaders, the title cut, Instant Death, Cutthroat, just a great album through and through. And the first album, Executioner's Song, not quite as good as Evil Invaders, but in its own right, just phenomenal, featuring my favorite song of that album, Hot Metal. But others, Take This Torch, Fast and Loud, Distant Thunder, just again, a great album. So when you look at Razer and their discography, they basically go from Executioner's Song, the first proper full length album, Armed and Dangerous, preceded that as a mini album, and a good album, really good album. A lot of those songs were redone for Executioner's Song. But if you look at the proper albums, you go Executioner's Song, Evil Invaders, absolute monstrous classic, as I just said. Malicious Intent, another great, great album. So if you look at those three, I call them like the Fierce Trilogy, because one after the other, these albums are just so good. Malicious Intent, Tear Me to Pieces, Night Attack, Grindstone, Cage the Ragers, Malicious Intent, just phenomenal. Then they came out with an album in 1987 called Custom Killing. It was a little bit different, a little bit of different vibe. Had a couple of real long songs on it, clocking in at just about 11 minutes each, Survival of the Fittest and Forced Annihilation. But also had one of the greatest songs, White Noise. This song is just unbelievable. But this is probably one of my two least favorite Razer albums. But you put this album, Custom Killing, against many other bands, and it would be certainly among their elite albums. That's just the point. Razer doesn't have a bad album in their catalog, not even close. After Custom Killing, they kind of went back to the formula that they worked with the first three albums, with Violent Restitution, which many feel, I've read, is their best album. I disagree. Evil Invaders, to me, is clearly their number one album. And that's saying something, because every album is great. But yet there is a definitive best of, Evil Invaders. If you don't know this album, check it out. It's infectious. It will grab you. It'll bring you over to the Razer fan base without question. But again, Violent Restitution, phenomenal record in and of itself. Hypertension, Taste the Floor, Violent Restitution, the title cut, Out of the Game, everything. Just, again, Fed Up. just a great album through and through. Then they lost their lead vocalist. Sheepdog McLaren was gone, and Bob Reed, the backup vocalist, came in. Now, Bob Reed, usually this would kill a band like Razer. Sheep McLaren, along with Dave Carlo, the guitar player, with a big two, and so when you lose the vocalist, most bands, would take a huge hit. But Razer really didn't do that. Sheepdog McLaren is missed without question. He is just unbelievable vocal stylings with his screaming and high-pitched screeches and, death metal type growls. Just phenomenal vocalist. But Bob Reed did about as good a job as you can do stepping in. And the albums that followed, Shotgun Justice and Open Hostility, are two phenomenal records. I mean, Shotgun Justice, Miami, United by Hatred, Meaning of Pain, Stabbed in the Back, Brass Knuckles. These are just absolutely scorching songs. And then you go with Open Hostility, which came out in 1991. Sucker for Punishment, Road Gunner, Mental Torture, Iron Legions. Again, another absolutely sensational album. And then pretty much the next album was called Decibels. And that was pretty much their final album in 1997. And again, it's a really good record, but featuring Jimmy the Fly, The Game, Decibels, which is really a remake of Instant Death from the Evil Invaders record. But Decibels is a really good record, but I would say, again, like I said, with Custom Killing, those would be my least favorite of the two, but I love both records, okay? So, but they are definitively, that was a drop off from Open Hostility in my view. So the point here is Razer is just a phenomenal band. People are going to disagree. Everybody has their favorites. It's certainly not a slam dunk. There's a lot of great bands in the area of thrash. A lot of personal favorites that I have as well, which I won't get into at this point. We'll leave that for another Tune Talk. But Razer, to me, is number one. And I urge everybody to check them out if you don't know them already. And I think you'll see what we're talking about here. But anyway, hey, thanks for listening. This is the first Tune Talk. There'll be many more. And I want you to feel free to get in the conversation in the comments section, give your opinion of Razer. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. But I look forward to hearing everybody's comments. But listen, everybody have a great rest of the day and keep rocking. All right. Take care, everyone.